I'm Heather Simmons. Welcome to a very special edition of Spotlight on Glassboro. Today we're at the reopening ceremony for the old historic Glassboro train station. The Glassboro Historical Commission, the Greater Glassboro Group, the Borough of Glassboro, and all the way on up to the federal government have been involved in restoring this historical site that sits at the entrance of Rowan University on one side, downtown Glassboro on a second side, and behind it is the Chestnut Ridge development. This is literally the heart of Glassboro. And after 40 years of this site being closed, it is now reopened, and we're here for a beautiful celebration. Come on with us and let's take a look. So now I'm here with Councilman John Wallace from the Borough of Glassboro. John, you're the liaison to the Historic Society here in Glassboro. Why is the grand reopening of this train station important for Glassboro?
Well, Heather, it's important because with the revitalization of Glassboro, this train station here has very historic significance. And as a cornerstone of the community, in an effort to promote tourism, this will be a tourist destination for people to come, learn a little bit about the train station, the history of Glassboro, and to connect with the community altogether.
So this is a project that's been going on for a very long time. There was grant money that went into the restoration of the exterior and a lot of fundraising on the interior. And as part of council, it's been something that you have been focused on. Why do you think it's important?
Well, I think it's important because it brings the community together, like I said, and again, with the revitalization of Glassboro and the relationship that we're having with Rowan University, bringing people in from all areas, just another way to put Glassboro on the map.
Darla, welcome, and thank you so much for all that you've done and your members have done. Why was the restoration of this train station one of the focuses of your goals?
Well, we at Greater Glassboro Group has always been interested in saving the historic places in Glassboro, and the train station was one of the places that we had on the top of our list for the last 15 years. And we're just really thrilled that it has come about to this fruition. It just felt like sometimes it would never happen. I guess you'd call us the naggers. We have a newsletter, and I would write in the newsletter these articles, and one of the articles, I laugh about it now, but I said, oh, we put a tarpaulin on top of the train station because it was leaking. But we did just about anything and everything we could to keep the train station in front of mayor and council. And whenever we would see the liaison, at that time it was Tony Fiolda, I would say, but Tony, what about the train station? And so anyway, we're just overjoyed. And one of our members donated $3,000 for the telegraph that is in there now. And so we're really thrilled about that. So we're very happy today.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you've done, and this speaks so much to the type of people we have in Glassboro who are so committed to making our community better. So congratulations, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
I join you here today with members of the Glassboro Historic Preservation Commission who have worked very hard to make this day a reality. They are Rich Drobel, amazing guy, Jackie Tartaglione, equally amazing, Linda Casabone, Marie Lockwood, Mary Ellen Smith, Bill McCain, Darla Cassidy, and our permanent meeting guest, Andrew Halter, over there. I'd like to take this time to thank the following people: Mayor Leo McCabe and his late wife, Mary McCabe, who's been great supporters of this project. Council President George Koss, Council Liaison to Historic Preservation, John Wallace. Our council members, Anna Miller, who's here, Ed Melandro, Hector Cabezas, Joe D'Alessandro. Our CFO at the borough, Karen Passioni. She spent many hours on this project in construction meetings and all kinds of technical details that we knew nothing about. Our borough administrator, Joe Brigandi Jr. I'd like to thank personally Russell Clark and Roy Cook, who work for the borough, their department heads. They both cringe every time they see my number come up on their caller ID. They're dedicated staff at the Borough of Glassboro. Alan Norton's here. He knows what he's done, what I've made him do here. Our past Historic Preservation Commission members and Glassboro Economic Development Directors who are integral in getting this project off the ground. There's many people that worked on this project for a long time. They're not necessarily here today, but they know who they are, and I just want to give them a shout. A very special thanks to Greater Glassboro Group. There's a special woman here that I want to particularly thank is Lucille Flieger. Once Lucille asked me a few years ago, she said, am I going to live to see this station completed? And I said, well, Lucille, how you feeling? I'm really glad you're here, Lucille, to see this finally happen for you and for Greater Glassboro Group. They have tireless dedication to the preservation of Glassboro history. I'd like to also thank them for their donation for the working telegraph, which we have inside. If you feel that you are that good, that you can do the dot dash thing and decipher a telegraph on the other end. Actually, the sending isn't the hard part. It's, I think, the other end's the wicked part. But, you know, give it a shot. I learned how to send SOS. I figured that was appropriate for my life. I'm going to say thank you to the Heritage Glass Museum, especially Diana Pierce and Rick Grenda, and the South Jersey History Museum, Mr. Jeff Norcross. They've been a valuable source of guidance for us. I'd like to say a special thanks to Rowan University. I see Ali Hushman's here, president, and Tom Gallia and Bob Zazali. The wonderful Rowan musicians that are here today. Dean Paston, you guys are wonderful. And the 12th New Jersey Volunteer Infantry, our reenactors, they are really cool. I want to thank New Jersey DOT for sending the New Jersey Operation Lifesaver crew here today to teach us all about railroad safety. Thanks, guys, for being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the Strasburg Railroad Club for the working model train displays, Nick Frankunas, train expert extraordinaire, and Will Gallen for his documentary, The Renovation of the Station. And for Olivia, Isabella, Nicolette, and Lola, our beautiful little girls here in their period dress. They look lovely. I thank all the volunteers, especially, and it's a shame he couldn't be here today, Mike Riley. He worked for WU primarily, and after the project was finished, WU Construction was the contractor that did this renovation. After the project was over, Mike came back and volunteered a lot of his time and did some private work for us through his construction company. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had this beautiful trim up in here, all this wainscot. He painstakingly pieced it all together out of a huge pile that was in a trailer. I was amazing. He knew where every piece went. So I have to say thanks to Mike. I don't know what we would have done without him. Certapro Painting and Quality Carpets, who discounted their work here for the painting and the flooring. They're both Glassboro businesses, and were very, very helpful. And Keith Campbell of Mannington Mills, who generously donated the flooring for the station. We still have the original flooring intact underneath the Mannington floor, just in case someone feels the urge to give us a lot of money to replicate the floor someday. Just throwing that out there. Spread the word. You have any rich friends that like floors? We're looking. Please enjoy the music, the ambiance, the wine. Being served by Glassboro's own Summit City Winery. Incredible. Thank you so much. Mr. DiGenio was very kind, and he's donating his wine and his time here today for this station and for this event. So thank you so much. And Lissio's Bakery made all these delicious trays for us and desserts. I previously thanked a staunch supporter of the renovation of this station, Mary McCabe. You all knew her as the ambassador of Glassboro. And if there was a project, cause, or event that needed awareness brought to it, we could always count on Mary to spread the word. What do we have? She is greatly missed, and if we have any regrets, it's that she's not here to see this finished product. Although she did visit the station in her red shoes. I was so scared she was going to step on a nail. She was in her, oh my goodness, this is lovely. I'm sure her spirit is here with us today. In light of her hard work and dedication, the commission decided that it would only be fitting to honor and remember Mary here at this fine building by naming the room on the far right here, this meeting space, the Mary S. McCabe Meeting Room. And we have this as a rendition for you. And this is just a temporary, because we want you to be involved in the design of this plaque. And it's going to involve a picture of Mary for the room.
This afternoon I am overwhelmed because I knew nothing about that. On behalf of Mayor and Council. I would like to thank the Historic Commission and Greater Glassboro Group. But you know, Danielle had 3 or 4 pages of thanking people, but the one who deserves it most is Danielle Vita Spence. She has done such a wonderful job. She does everything we just couldn't do without you in any way. Thank you so much.
We have freeholder Jim Jefferson with us, and he's the newest member of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. Jim, welcome to Glassboro. It's great to have you here.
It's a beautiful day to be in Glassboro, my friend Heather.
Why did you come and join us here today? What drew you here?
You know, in public service, there's nothing better than when you can build and strengthen your communities. And what a great borough Glassboro is, and just the restoration of this historic site just really speaks to what we're looking to emphasize here in the county. As you know, there's a lot of development down the street, and we're looking to tie together the historical site and what's going on moving forward. So it's really just a great day to really recognize what we're doing in Glassboro.
Well, welcome aboard. We look forward to having you here for a lot more events to come. We're joined now by Dr. Leo McCabe, the mayor of Glassboro. Dr. McCabe, thank you so much for being here and for being in part of this important ceremony.
Thank you very much, Heather. I wouldn't miss it for the world. You know, many years ago, somebody had the dream, the restoration of this station, and it stood for many years before anything was done. But then Borough Council got together, and with the Historic Committee of the borough and the Greater Glassboro Group joined together, and it was really a community. So many of the artifacts which are shown in the station now came from many people throughout the community, and it's just wonderful. We are going to have a historic district spread throughout the downtown area, and we have looked on the downtown Glassboro is going to be a destination with Rowan Boulevard and everything else going on. And I have to thank also Rowan University Administration, Board of Trustees, and especially the President, Dr. Ali Hushman, for his foresight and so many things he's done, and he has been a great supporter of the station renovation. It's just a beautiful thing to behold. I also want to thank our federal government, representatives and senators who pushed this through for a donation. We could not have done it without them.
We brought in grant money from the federal government to do this, in addition to a significant amount of fundraising by all of these local organizations. And the idea was to honor Glassboro's past. As Glassboro is moving at rapid speed into a future whose possibilities are endless, why is it important to take a look at the past and honor it?
It is important to see what was done in the past and really to enjoy what we had done in the past and look forward to what's going to happen in the future. Glassboro will become a destination once more, and we are looking forward to that. In fact, I think it is now with what we've already done on Rowan Boulevard.
Well, Dr. McCabe, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on this wonderful accomplishment.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Rich Strobel is co-president of the Glassboro Historical Commission. Rich is a lifetime resident of Glassboro and a train enthusiast, and perhaps nobody knows more about the architecture and history of this building than Rich. Rich, thank you so much for being here today and for all you've done for the restoration of this important site.
You're certainly welcome. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the train station?
Okay, the station was built in 1863, around that time, and that's around the Civil War. And it was originally on the other side of the tracks. And when they started running 2 trains, one south and one north, there was over 100 trains a day that came through Glassboro. So they moved it onto this side and built platforms on the other side for the Bridgeton train.
So that was all commuter rail at that point, where a lot of it was commuter rail. At what point did commuter traffic stop on this rail line?
The last train was in 1971. That was a passenger train going from Millville to Camden, and that was the last train that came through here.
So for the last 40 years or so, really the only trains coming through here are Conrail.
That's right. They're freight trains, and they go south, and there's usually one around 8:15 every night going towards Camden. Yeah.
Why is it important to bring back the old train station to its former glory?
Well, the train station in every town was the main focal point for the neighborhood. People had events at the train station. They picked up their mail here. Anything that came in freight, they would pick up here. So it was a part of the community. People came to the train station. It was a major thing. And also, if they wanted to send a telegram to a relative, it was like the internet of the day, they could do it from the train station because that's where the telegraph office was.
So I understand you have a working telegraph in there now.
Yes, we do. I'm just trying to find some telegraph people that know Morse code to operate it. But yeah, it does operate it, and it's vintage from around, I guess, 1840 or something like that is the equipment that we purchased.
How will this space be used moving forward?
We're hoping that this one will be a destination in Glassboro so that people that visit Glassboro or relatives of Rowan students or whatever will be able to come here and learn a little bit about the railroad and how the station played a part in the history of Glassboro. All of the houses on the ridge, they're partly there because of the Glassboro train station. And Rowan, when it became a normal school and started, that was a lot of, students got here by train. So, yeah, we're hoping to do that. And we'll have events like movie nights, or we're having a Civil War encampment coming up.
I understand that there are a lot of pieces of historical significance inside, a lot of museum pieces. What kinds of things are in there, and where did you get them?
Okay, some of the items were donated to us by local people that live in town who've collected train items and are just looking for a place to house them, So we have that. We also have a lot of things that were excavated while rebuilding the building. We found a Lincoln pin from the 1800s. That's how they used to hold the coaches together. And you don't find those that often, although they were very common. We have photographs, old black and white photographs that we've procured from different places, and there's a lot of interesting things to come and see here.
Will there be times when the museum is open to the public, just regular hours at any point?
We're hoping, starting in September, to have one day a week. We have a glass museum, and we have a history museum, a heritage museum, and we're hoping to coordinate with them so that people can see all three things in Glassboro at the same time.
Wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough for all that you've done, and thank you for being with us here today.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. It's a dream come true for me, because as being a resident in Glassboro, I used to ride my bicycle over here and look in the windows. And then when it was boarded up, I thought, well, someday it's just going to disappear. But fantastic that we got this far with it.
I'm here with Dr. Lou DiEugenio, and within the last year, he founded Summit City Winery right here in Glassboro, Glassboro's first winery, and we're thrilled to have you as part of the growing wine industry in southern New Jersey.
Well, thank you. Thank you
very
much.
And what brings you here today?
Well, we were asked by a couple of our old high school classmates, Jim and I and my own wife and Linda Manganero and Marie Lockwood. We all went to high school together. We were 1967 Glassboro High. And whenever we can get out and help the town and help some of our old friends, we're happy to do it. And one of the things I've learned is I never had anybody, you might want to cut this, but I never had anybody get excited about a peach, an apple, a nectarine, a mushroom, an asparagus, a pepper, or anything else we ever grew. But when you mention wine, the eyes get as big as my wife's Bernese Mountain Dog when he smells a hamburger. I mean, everybody gets excited about wine.
Well, there's something to that. That's really become a niche industry here in South Jersey, and it's something that's really the crux of the tourism industry. And in fact, in Gloucester County, we've had the highest tourism growth in the last 3 years anywhere in the state, and that's really because of the wine. What do you specialize in at your winery?
Well, our original model, since our real mission there, we've been a commercial fruit farm for almost 100 years. We have about 500 acres of peaches and nectarines and a few apples. And our original plan was that we're going to take our byproduct from those commodities and make wine, which we've done. Apple, peach, and nectarine are sort of our staple fruit wines, but we've certainly broadened that out to include blueberries, strawberries, plums. We have mango, we have a clementine and a kiwi wine that we're bringing out. We have a mango wine that's just outstanding. And then we realized that people really didn't want to drink just fruit wines, non-grapefruit wines. So we realized that we needed to make an array of grape wines, and so we now have a total of 27 wines, about 12 of which are from grapes, about half red wines, dry red wines, and the other half white wines, Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Tramonnay, and the like. And the remaining 14 or 15 are fruit wines. And I'm convinced that you can make wine out of virtually anything. And if you're lucky and you do it just right and sweeten it just appropriately, people will love it. I mean, we just haven't had a failed wine. And maybe that's beginner's luck. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, you're a significant part of this community, and your family has been for a very long time. And in fact, we're thrilled to have you here today donating your wine and your time. It's very important. But looking forward, what do you see as the future for Summit City?
Well, the commercial farm is, as Bill Dalton said one time, it has to be in your blood because there are better ways to be abused than farming. So we're going to remain a commercial fruit farm. In fact, we just expanded with the addition of another farm here about 6 months ago. But the winery is really going to lead itself. What I see in the winery is it's been a wonderful gathering place. People come to the winery, and if they're not happy when they get there, they get happy very quickly. And I don't mean because they're inebriated. The conversation has just been wonderful. And seeing people that I haven't seen for 30 or 40 years, keep in mind back in the 60s and 70s when that facility, which is now the winery, was our peach packing house. We now have Eastern Pro Pack, which we founded about 18 years ago. All the local kids, because the labor laws allowed kids to work there, worked in that packing house. In fact, my wife is a very genteel and mellow person, has been viewed as sort of that nasty lady by some of the kids back in the 60s because they had to work.
This is on TV here.
Well, because they had to work. But no, I'm coming to the positive side of this. They come back now 30 years later and thank her immensely for the experience.
They learned a lot.
And say, can you hire my kids? Unfortunately, the laws are now such that we can't until they get up to a certain age. And, of course, we don't run a packing facility there anymore.
Right.
We harvest, we cool, we chill, and then we send it over to Eastern Pro Pack. But I think the gathering and the sharing with adults and mature people there and seeing persons that I haven't seen for many years, and then they come in and meet other people that they haven't seen, and even people in the community that gather there now, it's just been wonderful. I mean, if there's an economic advantage, I'm going to call that extra credit. It's just seeing people get together, enjoy a commodity, and have some nice conversation has been wonderful.
Well, you're certainly contributing to the success of this event in the same way. We're thrilled to have you. And one last little plug. Tell everyone out there the address of the winery so they can come on by.
Yep, we're at 500 University Boulevard in Glassboro, New Jersey. And I should have prefaced that by saying it's the Chestnut Ridge.
I'm joined now with Melanie Stewart. Melanie is the Associate Dean of Performing Arts at Rowan University. Melanie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
You've been involved with the Borough of Glassboro on the concept of creative placemaking, and certainly restoring this important historical site contributes to that goal. Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Well, whenever you restore a historical site, what you're doing is really bringing back the life of the building, but that also brings all of the complementary arts that go into making that building and creating that place. So it's a place where people come together to create, and I know this is going to be a meeting place and a place where any number of arts activities can happen, arts festivals and fairs and all kinds of activities. So we look forward to seeing what can happen here.
So I know one of the things that you've been particularly involved in is just that. And not only for this site, but for the town square that's under construction, as well as for the arts and entertainment on East and West High Street in downtown Glassboro. So can you talk a little bit about why the arts are so important to the redevelopment of Glassboro?
Well, the arts are certainly a spur to the economy. They bring communities together in very meaningful ways, from the very young to the very old and everywhere in between, in all kinds of diverse communities as well. So not only the college communities together with the town, but all of the communities in between. So we look at the arts as a place where we can come together and to make meaning happen.
With us now is Joe Brigandi Jr. Joe is the borough administrator for Glassboro and a former freeholder here in Gloucester County. Joe, the site where we're standing is right in front of the main entrance to Rowan University, right at the beginning of the Chestnut Ridge development, and right next to our downtown. Why is this site so important for the history and the future of Glassboro?
Well, I think it's super important because it's a town that's a small, tight-knit town. I actually grew up right down the street from here. I've lived here 59 years. And as we grow as a community, we don't want to lose that historical perspective and the closeness between the residents, the downtown, and Rowan University. So even though there's a lot of new buildings and a lot of change, we want to honor our past, and a wonderful job was done restoring the train station, and the fact that we have possibly future light rail coming here is another reason to celebrate the restoration of our train station.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the light rail. The light rail will use this train line that's behind us. They will not use this station as a stop. Can you tell us a little bit about what the rail line will do?
Yes, the rail line will connect from the existing light rail line from Camden to Trenton, and so that will connect now down to Glassboro. And it will be obviously a great economic development engine, as well as a means of public transportation that we lack right now in South Jersey and in Gloucester County in particular. There's so much congestion and cars on the road. I think it's going to get a lot of cars off the road, but it's also going to make it easier for us to travel to destinations, whether it's the educational opportunities in both in Glassboro with Rowan and Camden with their educational opportunities. If we want to go into Philly, if we want to go up to New York, those will be really neat options and nice options for us.
Now, I understand with the light rail, we're projecting having 2 stops in Glassboro, and this will not be one of them. But where will those stops be?
Yeah, one will be at Rowan University, near where the new business building is being built, and it'll probably be a step-off platform. And then there'll be an intermodal station in downtown Glassboro, right behind the businesses on East High Street, in between South Main and South Academy Streets.
So right at that intersection, really, we're talking about redevelopment of the old theater site. Can you give a little bit of information about what the development of the old theater site on East High Street means for the overall development of downtown?
Yeah, that's another exciting project. It was a building we were hoping to save, but unfortunately, from a construction standpoint, there was just too much damage to the building and it wasn't really salvageable. But we're going to try to rebuild it with some of the same architectural significance and some of the same uses. It'll be a mixed-use building with a restaurant, 3 small theaters, Rowan's TV and radio stations. Rowan will have some classroom space for their fine arts and affinity housing, student housing for the students. So it's a nice mixed-use project.
Well, Joe, I think I can say with certainty that there's probably no one in Glassboro who's been more involved with preserving Glassboro's past while at the same time taking Glassboro to the future. So thank you for all that you're doing and that you've done, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's been a great day here at the historic train station reopening in Glassboro. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to all the organizations and individuals who made this day historically significant for Glassboro and the surrounding communities. Join us on our next edition of Spotlight on Glassboro.